Okay, are we recording? That is going to be a recurring problem, I can see that now. Okay, so yeah, we are talking today about an anime called Accelworld, which I believe was written by the same guy who wrote Sword Art Online, which I found kind of difficult to believe. I mean, the similarities are there, and at one point they directly referenced the console that was kind of the whole impetus behind Sword Art Online, so that part made sense. But like, as far as how it's written, well, it's not written quite the same, you know. Basically, it's written better. There's no incest involved. Yeah, there's no incest involved, so that is a definite plus. Let's see what I have here in my notes. Oh yes, I said Season 1 was good, which was true, in fact. Season 1 was really good. But Season 2, according to this, Season 2 is better. Except for the intro, so, yeah, that's true. The intro was a little bit worse in Season 2. They have this kind of faux rap thing going on. Season 1 intro is just that much better. And they only changed intros once, as opposed to Sword Art Online, so that's good, I guess. But what else do I have to write about? Oh, so, let's see. For the basic kind of premise of the series, Accelworld is about this pudgy kind of kid, and he's sort of a loser, down on his luck, nerdy kind of guy. And he lives in a world where basically everybody has augmented reality and virtual reality little devices. Unlike in Sword Art, where it's kind of a big, heavy headset thing, in this one, since it takes place further into the future, it's like this tiny little thing you wear around your neck. It looks kind of like, there's like this model of headphone, or this model of like earbud.
There's this model of earbud that it makes.
I might cut that. I'm not going to cut that. I might cut that. You want to cut that? You know what? Let's cut. So, other than that, so he's this kind of down on his luck kid who's approached by someone from student council who asks him if he wants to take things further and go beyond the world that he's known and lived in for the past whatever years. And so he finds out, oh my gosh, and this is not spoilers because it's in the first episode of the series. I mean, I guess it's kind of spoilers because if you haven't seen the first episode, but basically he finds out there's this whole new world of possibility out there. There's this whole new virtual reality experience that's like nothing he's ever seen before. And so that kind of encourages him to break out of his shell a little more, and over the course of the season he becomes a stronger character. In fact, the majority of the first couple episodes of Season 2 is all just about trying to take him down a peg because, well, he's gotten a little too confident, and, you know, they have to sabotage his ability to participate in this experience. It's like kind of a fighting thing, so it's a little bit like how in Sword Art Online they fight monsters. But in this one, it's all PvP, so it's a little different from that. Points where it's better than Sword Art are most of them. I found this show a lot funnier. I mean, Sword Art was funny. This show was really funny. I liked that about it. Really, you can kind of relate to the characters a little more. I mean, not just the main guy, because I'm not like a loser or anything. Um, but you can see where they're coming from, and they all have these really awesome past and backstories, and everybody's a little more fleshed out. They're not all stupid girls who are in love with Kirito for some reason. Um, and also they're a little bit better about not. They're a little bit better about shoving characters into the background. I mean, there's one character. I guess I'll just call her the Black King. You'll find out about that if you watch the show. But she gets written out of a bit of season 2, but then they devote a couple episodes to what actually happened to her, which is more than you could say for characters in Sword Art. I mean, once people like Klein or Liz are in the background, they're stuck in the background. They don't come back. And I mean, she comes back, and it's like this big event, when she comes back. So that's kind of exciting. And the episodes they gave her were pretty good. I liked the story they gave her overall. I thought it was kind of a cute little story, a little bit sad, but that's how it is, right? Let's see. I have
the villain. So in the first season, I'm not sure who the villain was. I guess technically the Red King would have been the villain, but like she turns over very quickly and becomes the new best. She becomes a friend pretty quickly. I guess for a couple episodes she was a villain. Let's see. Yeah, so the villain was more fleshed out in season 2. Because, I mean, if there was a villain in season 1, I don't think they were fleshed out enough for me to remember them or really care who they were at all. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. But let's see. What else is there to it? Oh, is this still going? I should check. Oh, it must be on a different quality setting, because normally that wouldn't be the case. Yeah, alright. Now I'm just stuck here, sitting here, just trying to remember who the villain was in season 1. Let's see, they get into the fighting game, they start figuring stuff out.
Most of the villains in season 1, most of them turn over to good. So like the guy's friend from Kendo Club or whatever turns out to be in on this whole thing as well, and so he has to fight them before he turns over to their side. And like I mentioned, the Red King earlier has to fight them and then join their side. And I guess the Yellow King could be considered kind of a villain. He only shows up in like 1 or 2 episodes.
Then there's the guy who's who's turned into a monster because he's so metal and he's so into this fighting game. He's just turned into a monster. But yeah, I mean, overall, that you don't get like a season arc long villain. And in season 2, you sure as shootin' do. I mean, he's he's a trickster. He uses blackmail. He's down and dirty. He's got all kinds of insane techniques that they've never seen before. And he really is quite a challenge. I mean, it takes them the whole season just to figure out how to beat him. And they only do that because of what I like to call... And this was something I didn't see... Well, okay, so there was a little bit of Deus Ex Machina stuff in Sword Art Online. But, I mean, this was pretty blatant. Basically, they don't set anything up, right? They just say, this character has a healing ability. Okay, whatever. And then at the last minute, they pull this BS twist right out of their butt. And they're like, yeah, okay, so this healing ability actually does a bunch of other stuff. And it's really a secret. And you don't know for sure what's going on. And it's like, oh, well, that is fine. I mean, No, don't let like any other conclusion to your um to your season play out. I mean, don't have it be like the guy finds out that he doesn't actually need his powers back or whatever. No, just find a way to give him his powers back so it doesn't matter that he went through all this growth and development trying to fight without him. That's the way to do it. After all, as Syndrome says, when everyone's super, no one is. That's not really applicable. But he doesn't even have superpowers, and look what happened to him. I mean, he died. As far as I could tell, unless, Incredibles 2 comes out and turns out Syndrome was alive the whole time. I sure hope not. I mean, he was a fine villain, but I really want to see them cook up something new and exciting. Let's see, what else do we have here in the notes, which I took here? Oh, I just really liked a lot of the characters. The characters were likable. It says here that I wanted the Red King more in Season 2, and that's true. I mean, like, she's not completely written out, and she gets some lines in there. And she actually serves as kind of an important plot point, because they have to figure out how to level up or whatnot. This kind of bugged me about the series. And maybe I shouldn't say all the stuff that bugged me, because then it seems like I didn't like it. But I did like it, and dang it, I'm going to say the stuff that bugged me anyway. So basically, pretty early on, like I said, this villain is kind of down and dirty in Season 2. And so he ends up blackmailing two of the characters. And then, like, later on, one of them just seems to forget about the blackmail entirely. And I guess maybe you could make the argument, oh, he didn't forget. It's because, he's under the blackmail. And I'm like, okay, but he doesn't care, though. He's like, he gets bullied a little bit in school for it. And because he's grown so much as a character, he just kind of brushes it off. And he's like, yeah, whatever, man. Just punch me in the face. I'm gonna get home. I'm gonna go get lunch. I don't care anymore. So I didn't buy it. I was like, why don't you remember this? You were there. And like, I thought maybe that, spoiler alert, his memory gets wiped a little bit in one of the episodes. And that has its whole other list of problems that I'm not going to mention here because I just don't have the time. But I thought, okay, well, maybe his memory got wiped. Maybe he forgot. But no, then, like, in the second to last episode of the season, he suddenly remembers, it must be the blackmail. And I'm like, oh, he didn't seem to know, like, for the most of the season. And yeah, well, okay, but eventually he figures it out. Okay, great. That's just great. Stupid. That was stupid. That was lazy writing. I don't know what happened. They forgot. I think they just forgot. Plain and simple. I think I remember my last name, but just to check it. His memory got wiped, and like I said, there's a whole other list of problems that happened with that whole debacle. But the basis of it is he has to go, like, he got all his life force or whatever drained or something like that. So he has to go to this person who's, like, well known for helping people who are weak and regain their strength or whatever. And so he has to go do that. And she's like, okay, so we did this. This was a good thing we did. Now I'm going to erase your memory. And you just never find out about her ever again. So that's, that's kind of sad. That's kind of dumb. And she doesn't ever come back. I mean, like, the way they set everything up and the way she mentions, I'm one of the elements or whatever. And she sounds like a big deal. And then they just never bring it up again, never bring it up again. Maybe they'll make a third season of this. I don't know when it came out, but, it could be like Sword Art, where eventually they just get around to it. And, by that point, nobody remembers anymore. Nobody cares. But yeah, I was kind of shocked that this was written by the same guy who did Sword Art Online, because it doesn't suffer from the problems with that show, with flat characters and with weird, stupid explanations and things that don't quite make sense in that way. I mentioned a couple of problems I had with it, but overall I just had a lot more fun watching this. I think it might, well, the other thing is, Sword Art Online is a little more about romance. I got a comment on my video about this. So, if you're watching and you commented that, well, thanks for watching this video, but, yeah, I did notice that there was a lot of romance in Sword Art. And I mean, to be fair, there's less of it in this one. The romantic leads, the romantic thing is certainly there, but it's always kind of played as a joke. And, sure, they bring it back towards the end of this season, of the second season. They really bring it back. But for most of that season, they're not even mentioning it most of the time. So that's kind of, I mean, if you had a problem with that, then that's not as much in here. And I think the show kind of benefits from that too, because when they don't spend as much time on romance, they can talk about the stuff I really care about, like exposition on how all this gaming stuff works, and they have to figure out all these ways of getting stronger, so finding that out is pretty exciting. It was a good show. I thought it was funny. I recommend you watch maybe the first 2 episodes, because they have this habit of kind of leaving you on cliffhangers. But, watch the first 2 episodes, and if you don't like this, well, don't watch more of it. But if you do like it, well, shoot, man. I mean, I bought a whole second season of it after I didn't buy the whole first season. So I liked it enough to do that. And, maybe if you don't like anime, if it's not your thing, don't watch it. But it can't hurt to check it out. I really liked it. I know I got some suggestions for other stuff I should watch, and I promise that I might get around to doing that. Otherwise, this has been kind of a vlog thing about Sword Art Online. No, about okay. This has been a vlog about Accelworld. So, well, now it's over.